From The Gray Man to Dungeons & Dragons, Rege-Jean has the makings of an A-list star. And while Bridgerton wasn't his first role, it's one of his biggest. The actor famously quit the role before the second season, and he recently revealed why. And apparently his reasons for leaving were pretty simple. While being profiled by Vanity Fair, Rege can't have been surprised that Bridgerton came up. The interviewer asked if Rege made his exit because he was concerned about being pigeonholed.
What was it like to be working with Ryan and Chris and the rest of the cast?
Inspiring. It is something absolutely... It's a huge privilege to work with a cast of this standard. It's knowing that absolutely everyone is not just bringing their A game, but their A game is the A game.
But that wasn't it. The truth is even simpler than that.
I must say I'm impressed.
Marry me, Miss Bridgerton.
Now, as far as proposals go, that may be the least romantic of all.
As he puts it, he had a job to do, and he did it. The job was done, and there were other jobs to do, so he moved on. Even the actor admits his reasoning was kind of boring, but he didn't want his presence to be forced in the story. There was a temptation at Netflix to change the story and make some stuff up, but he didn't want to be in the show that way. That might be a good thing, honestly. He may have won the hearts of the fans in his brief appearance, but a longer appearance might have cost him those hearts. He went on to say that actors can never stop worrying about their next job. A lot of them lose sleep over the fact that one of these days the roles will dry up. And then what? But the stress is also fun in some ways for Paige. He's curious to see how high, far, or wide this thing goes. After all, it's not just an upward trajectory. Sometimes things go down and sideways. And it's true that there was no natural place for Paige in the future of the show. Just like the books, each season of the show focuses on one of the 8 Bridgerton kids. The first season focused on Daphne, while the second will focus on Anthony, and so it goes. Although Daphne makes a few appearances throughout the series, she isn't the star of the story after that first book. In a similar way, the show could totally opt to give actress Phoebe Dynevor her walking papers and manage without her, so it wouldn't really make sense for Simon, Rege-Jean Page's character, to appear in the series going forward. They could have kept him around for cameos, but I think that is part of what the actor was talking about when he said he didn't want to make stuff up. Now that the story of Simon is over, he shouldn't be brought back.
We must continue our ruse until I found my match.
In the grand battle of the season, I am your trusted general, marshalling the troops.
Wellington could only hope for a soldier so brave.
And handsome. Must not forget that.
What Netflix and producer Shondaland should really be aiming for is to create more breakout characters like Simon. It'd be great for the show's rep and legacy if it had a bunch of these popular characters. In fact, since some of the Bridgerton stars are men, maybe we need a female counterpart to Rege-Jean Page. I think that'd be pretty interesting. That being said, I don't think I'm the only Bridgerton fan who's sad that Page isn't coming back. But if you're not familiar with the show, you might need an explainer on what the fuss is about. See, people aren't just obsessed with Rege-Jean Page, they're also in love with Simon Bassett, the Duke of Hastings.
Heard what Whistledown writes of me still? No. Even if you believe Lord Berbrook is taken care of, our ruse is not finished. I'm still in need of a husband.
Oh, I am flattered. I'm afraid I must reject your proposal.
Yes, I know. You're not the marrying type.
Here's a guy who returns to London and gets caught up in the social season.
I want to show you the bedroom.
Yours? Or mine?
You truly believe we are to have separate rooms? I should think not.
Stop, she'll see. Whatever will they think?
Now the guy has taken a vow to never marry. What's up with that? This is one of the big mysteries that drives the show. In fact, it was one of the most interesting things about the show back then. Like, a big part of the reason was people tuning in to find out the Duke's backstory. Daphne Bridgerton strikes up a friendship with him as the two help each other avoid marriage. But that eventually turns into something more. What girl wouldn't fall for a guy who's willing to start with a friendship and let it simmer into a romance? He cares for her, and he's got a sense of humor. It's not that he doesn't have flaws. For one thing, he lies to Daphne about being infertile, when it's only his desire for children that's barren. He also tries to run away from her, but getting a guy shouldn't be that easy, should it? Having some ice to melt is part of the charm. There's more to Rege-Jean Page than just Simon, of course. He's been charming us for a long time. Longer than you might think, actually.
Beyond that, I believe in delegation. I believe in people's expertise. I'm good at what I do. Other folks are very good at what they do. So this is an ensemble from Hollywood Norton, and she has done wonderful work. We are naturally, mostly in Armani. And beyond that,
His first big American production was the miniseries Roots, which aired on the History Channel. He plays the role of Chicken George in this series about an African man shipped to the States as a slave. Despite the name, this was a fictional story that was only based in history, but it was actually Shondaland that gave Page his real breakout role. He played Leonard Knox in For the People, a legal drama that aired on ABC in 2018. While he wasn't the key character of the show, he did still appear in every single episode. That's right, he was in all 20 of them. Yeah, For the People didn't quite catch on the way Bridgerton did. It was probably his appearance on For the People that gave him a shot at Bridgerton. And Bridgerton was the show that cracked Hollywood wide open for Rege. That raises the question, where is he taking this momentum?
You nail this meeting and I get my office back? Okay, sit down. You are going to dominate this meeting, which requires true gamesmanship, so you are getting my best strategic wisdom.
Yes, great, okay.
Well, he's done 2 big roles since his time on Bridgerton Wrapped. The first was a relatively high-profile role in the movie The Gray Man. This was a real who's who of A-list actors. Other actors in the movie included Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, and Ana de Armas. Oh, and it was also directed by the Russo brothers, their first big production coming off of Avengers: Endgame. In contrast to his role on Bridgerton, Rege-Jean Page's Carmichael is a villain in the movie. When Gosling, Sierra 6, a CIA agent, discovers terrible secrets about Carmichael, he goes on the lam. Carmichael proceeds to sick Evans's Lloyd Hansen on him. It's like No Country for Old Men, but with guns. Or rather, more guns. The movie failed to live up to its promise, despite the actors being pretty great. Coming out this year is Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Exactly that you bring to this.
I'm a planner. I make plans.
You've already made the plans, so
If the existing plan fails, I make a new plan.
you make plans that fail.
No.
He also plays the lute.
This comedy action adventure movie takes place in a certain role-playing games universe. You might have heard of Dungeons & Dragons, though it is kinda obscure. Not much is known about the movie yet, aside from the fact that he plays a paladin. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out when it releases on the 31st of March, and what comes after these 2 roles. Rumor has it that he might walk past a gun barrel next. Rege-Jean Page has long been rumored to be in the conversation for the next James Bond. With Daniel Craig hanging up his suit jacket, there's a lot of anticipation for who might follow him up. Page is a great choice, but he's up against some tough competition. Other forerunners in this race include Tom Hardy, Tom Holland, and Henry Cavill. This actually also came up in that Vanity Fair interview. When asked what he thought about it, he said that he's flattered for the consideration, but he's leaving it up to them. He says he's not sure if he'd take the part if it was offered to him, but he isn't thinking about it much. He's got plenty of stuff going on already, and this isn't his #1 concern. That's the kind of cool dismissiveness that'd make him a great James Bond. I think that about covers the Rege-Jean Page story for now.